Wait. Before we start, just want to make sure we're clear here. While this podcast talks about sobriety, mental health, and addiction, it is not meant to replace professional medical advice. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety.
I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sonia.
And we're ex-sisters-in-law, brought together in marriage and bonded through our sobriety journey.
Join us as we talk sobriety, addiction, and everything in between. You're in for quite a ride. And our Substack is buzzing with amazing content, from creative mocktail recipes to insightful courses and reflective exercises. There is something for everyone. Don't miss out. It's a great way to add some extra joy and depth to your journey. Check it out. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety. Today, we're joined by Cameron Oakes Rogers, mental health advocate, podcast host, content creator, and mom of two. Cameron creates incredibly honest conversations around mental health, anxiety, motherhood, and all the small, real practices that help us regulate and feel more grounded.
Cameron's work focuses on wellness that's actually livable, not perfection, not pressure, but tools like journaling, creating calm spaces, getting outside, and setting boundaries with our minds and our screens. We are so excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Karen, so can you tell us the moment or chapter in your life where something shifted you to prioritizing your mental health?
Oh, gosh. Well, I feel like when I was working in the corporate world, I definitely was not like prioritizing my mental health. It wasn't something, also, it was like 2015-ish, like it wasn't as much of a discussion. But I definitely realized like I was struggling. I was aware of that, but it wasn't until I actually had this like life-altering moment that I'm oddly grateful for now. But I was actually hit by a car while I was crossing the street.
Wow.
And I had a really bad concussion. Yeah. And I have a history of concussions. So like that one was like the tipping point for me. And I was on disability from my job for a while. And there was nothing I could do. I couldn't be on my phone. I couldn't read. I couldn't watch TV. And that was when I started my meditation practice and journaling. And I feel like that was probably a turning point for me that really prioritized those practices and became more of a routine than like a one-off, if that makes sense. So I feel like that was probably one. And then I would say the second is in postpartum with my first son, I experienced postpartum depression. And that was another moment where I was like, okay, I need to figure out what is actually going to help me in this period of time, because I don't want to feel like this and nobody wants to feel like that. And I'm not saying it's a choice at all, but really prioritizing practices that helped me during that period of time.
Well, you mentioned briefly, you had a career, it sounds like, in a very high pressure environment early on. How did that shape your relationship with stress and productivity?
Well, I was raised in a very go, like productivity hoarding household in a sense. Like there wasn't downtime. There wasn't relaxing. There was do this project, complete it, on to the next, and a real like push for excellence and to be the best. And I love my parents so much and I'm extremely close with them. And in a way, I'm grateful for that because it's allowed me a lot of the success that I have today. However, it also created this mindset that like rest is not something that we do. And I think my job in sales and trading just like really turned the dial up on that because it is so fast paced and it's cutthroat. And it is like, if you're late, you're getting yelled at. If you mess up, you're getting yelled at. Like it's a really intense. And I think that just like heightened all of those characteristics where everything felt so extreme in a sense and so intense. And like it was the end of the world if I had to wait in like a 10-minute line for lunch, you know?
Mm-hmm. How has becoming a mom changed the way you think about self-care and emotional regulation?
I think it's interesting because I almost feel like the pendulum swung so intensely for me where I then became like really obsessed with self-care
Huh.
before having children, almost like in an orthorexic
Yeah.
manner where I was like obsessed with every ingredient that went into my body, and I was obsessed with exercising because also I've been an athlete my entire life and played through college at a D1 level. So like that was a huge part of my identity. And when I graduated, I didn't know how to exercise in a mindful way. I only knew that I typically trained for 2 hours a day, sometimes 2 a days in college. And so that's what I like thought I had to continue, which is not at all the case. And so I feel like I became so obsessed with self-care that it almost was doing more harm than good. And I don't think we talk about that
Yeah.
enough, that like orthorexic side of wellness, where people become so obsessed that it's hurting them more than it's helping them. And I think after having a kid, like I just simply didn't have the time to do all of these things that I was doing prior. B, I didn't have all of the brain space to obsess over these things because suddenly I had 28,000 other things to worry about or to think about. And I say that motherhood, like one of the best things it gave me is a type B personality in a sense, where I stopped being so obsessive and anal over things because I simply didn't have the time anymore and it wasn't the priority.
I love that. I love that idea of the orthorexic self-care because we don't talk about it.
No.
And Kathleen and I, we interview people all the time that could probably qualify as orthorexic in terms of self-care. And sometimes I think the issue is that it just makes it seem unattainable. And so
Right.
it's very intimidating. And so what we love about your approach is that it is really relatable and accessible. And so, and that you make these sort of mental health practices, you kind of lower the barrier. And so one of them is journaling. And so when did journaling first enter your life? And what did it give you that maybe some of the other practices like exercising didn't?
So journaling honestly started during that window of time when I was on disability. Because again, like I could not do anything screen related. And for me, I am such a thinker. Like there are always thoughts and voices happening in my brain. Like I have anxiety and ADHD, so it's just like a constant stream of thoughts. And I can all very easily ruminate or obsess or spiral over things. And for me, journaling allows the release of those thoughts where like it's no longer this like prisoner of my brain. When I put it on paper, it helps me really just like work through things. And I think some people are so intimidated by journaling because they don't know what they're going to say or they have this expectation. There's zero expectation. You could write about something you dreamed about last night or what you did yesterday or what you're hoping to do. Like it can take you, sometimes I just literally word dump anything that comes to my brain. It just helps me like get those thoughts out, especially first thing in the morning. I find it very therapeutic. So the practice started in 2018 during this window of time and then really maintained like through the past, 7 years ago. And again, because I was getting so many messages of people being like, what do you journal? What journal do you use? Do you use prompts? Like, what do you say? I actually created a company called Quiet Your Mind and Busy Your Hands, where it's like part journal, part adult coloring affirmation book. So there are like small journal prompts like I'm setting boundaries around, or today I'm embracing, or I'm grateful for, which like you can use or ignore, and then coloring affirmations. So this has been like such a fun venture for me because it's built on something that like I deeply believe in and have used for years. And we have adult editions, and then we made a kids edition, which is like my favorite thing in the entire world. So journaling has been like a big, big part of my mental health practice.
How do you feel like it regulates your nervous system, especially when you're overwhelmed or if your thoughts are sort of spiraling?
Well, for me, I wake up anxious. Like some of my friends, we were talking this and they were like, what do you even mean? I was like, oh, I wake up and I'm like, that, like dial on. And for me, sitting down and just like pouring my thoughts onto paper calms me immediately. And I don't know if it's because it's a calmer way to start your day than like grabbing and looking at your phone. I think it's twofold. So I think it does that. It takes that potential option away. And B, I really think there's power in releasing your thoughts and feelings onto paper.
Yes. Yes. I recommend to some of my anxious clients, and also I do this myself, I have a journal next to my bed. So if I am getting up in the middle of the night with anxious thoughts, I just like write them out. And then I'm like, okay, they're somewhere.
Yeah.
Now I can go to sleep.
Yes. Yeah. I feel that. I mean, we even like, we have journals for our boys that my husband and I write in like every 2-3 months, just as like a time capsule to reflect on. I also love going back through my old journals, especially during the times where like I was considering quitting my job and like taking this leap of faith and starting my own thing. And it's so wild to look back into like the mindset that I was in at that time period. So I also love them as like a time capsule of sorts.
Do you have like a structure or routine with your journaling, or do you just let it be intuitive?
I mean, in a dream world, I'm doing it every morning with 2 young kids who have now decided to wake up at the crack of dawn. That's not happening every day. No, so it's more intuitive. Like I use Quiet Your Mind and Busier Hands often in the morning. And then I also have a journal that's more like work related, where that's where I'm potentially listing like manifestations or reflecting on like big things that happened, so that at a later point I can like go back and read that and like see how I felt in that moment. But it's very intuitive.
What do you say to people who think they're bad at journaling or they just don't know where to start?
People say this also with meditation. Like there's no grade. There's no comparison. There's no good, bad, in the middle. Like if you're doing it, you're doing it. It doesn't matter. And again, where to start? Like, I mean, that's why I created this product, so that you can have like a prompt if it's something you need, or you can ignore it if you just want to write about whatever. I would say the easiest place to start is just grabbing a paper and a pen and like set 0 expectations for yourself. No one's grading it. No one's even looking at it.
Are there certain prompts or themes you return to when you're feeling stuck?
For me, a lot of things, I like to return to gratitude because when I'm anxious, I can lean depressive and I can spiral and feel self-critical and comparative. And when I turn to gratitude, I think it just helps shift my mindset, quite honestly. And it has for the past like 10 years. So, I mean, that's something we do with our kids every night. Like I find that leaning more towards gratitude in those times has always been helpful in like shifting my mindset.
Yeah.
And also, this was something my husband and I did at night, but it was like things we're grateful for and things we're excited for. So it's like gratitude for what has happened and then excitement for what's to come.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I just interviewed the founder of the Rosebud journaling app, and he said one thing they do, I guess because they're called Rosebud too, is they do like the rose and thorn a lot.
We do that at home. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
You also talk about calm corners. What does that look like for you?
So I am like a creature of habit and love something that's reminds me or like immediately puts my body in that like calm space and mindset of like a setting that you can return to where you always are feeling calm. Like I'm not always feeling calm in like my kids' playroom, for instance. Like sure, it's fun in there, but it's also chaos. Like I'm not going to go there if I want to like relax. So finding a space, whether it's like a corner on a specific couch in your house or like a chair in your bedroom, somewhere that you are typically sitting in and feeling calm, so that when you feel dysregulated, you can go to that space and it almost like is a Pavlovian response of your body being like, okay, I can relax now. So like for me, there's like this very specific corner of one of our couches that like I sit in the mornings and have my coffee and either journal or read. And again, this is like depending on my children's sleep. But if like I can get into that mindset of like, it's morning and the sun is rising and our fireplace is on and I have my coffee. Like, I'm typically very calm in that space. So, like, I can use that as a corner to return to when I'm feeling dysregulated.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about
That
that
like tricked my brain.
in my mind, and I definitely have a calm corner. You do, Sonia, too, don't you?
Yeah, I have a few.
You
I
do.
feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like an evening calm corner and I have like a midday. I need a lot of regulation, nervous system regulation.
I feel you.
Yeah. And so how do the sensory elements, sort of like the texture, the light, how do those affect your nervous system and how important are those to somebody who's looking to create their own calm corner?
I mean, for me, I am such a texture person. Like, I only wear comfortable clothes. I will choose comfort over everything, always.
Mhm.
So for me, it's like I have this Lola blanket. I don't know if you guys have heard of
Yeah.
those. They're my favorite thing in the entire world. They're not weighted, but they feel weighted, where like I just wrap myself up in it and I feel like I'm in a cocoon. So something like that on my body feels so
Mhm.
comforting. And of course, like somewhere that I can, move my legs in a way that I'm comfortable. Like this desk chair would never be a calm corner because I can't get like cozy
Yeah.
on it. So finding somewhere that you can really like, it's almost like womb like I want to like curl up in a ball and like wrap myself in something. Um, And I also think like lighting, yes, is important. Of like, I don't like harsh lighting in general. Like one of my calm corners is also in our bedroom, and we have like red lights in our bedside lamps. So at night, like those are on, which my friends joke. They're like, you live in the red light district of Amsterdam, like your room is just constantly red. But having something like that, like a candle, you know what it is? Like I just think that as a person who gets overstimulated and can feel like sensory overload, any way to like turn the dial down is so helpful in calming my
Yeah.
nervous system.
And what do you do when you're traveling? So how do you recreate that calm if you don't have access to your usual setup?
That's where I feel like my journal,
Huh.
like, because it's something like I always have it with me. Always travel with it. Where typically, if I'm traveling, there's like a bed or a couch or somewhere where I can like comfortably sit with a blanket. And I feel like having some consistent piece that goes alongside all of them helps me tap back into that. And for me, it's my journal.
I love that. That's a good reflection. Like I think because that can go anywhere, right? That can really go anywhere, and that just
Right.
like
You can bring
grounds
it with you.
you. We're going to switch a little bit to hydration. We were joking about it before we started recording, but you've talked about your emotional support water bottle. But actually, how does hydration affect your mood and mental clarity?
I mean, if I am not hydrated,
Yeah,
like
you
it's the
drink.
same thing with being hungry. Yeah. It's the same thing with being hungry. Like, the Snickers commercials where they're like, uh, the person like is a different character almost, and they're like, you need a Snickers, and then they eat it and they go back to being
Yeah.
themselves. Like I feel such intense dysregulation if I'm hungry
Yeah.
or dehydrated. I also have a history because of my history with concussions. Like I can really easily get migraines and bad headaches. So like if I'm not hydrated, my body can feel it
Yeah.
immediately. And I feel like when I was at my corporate job and I sat at a desk all day, I used to drink so much water because my cup was just there and I was constantly drinking it. And when I would get up to go to the bathroom, it was next to the water fountain. But now working for myself, like I'm all over the place in 20 different rooms, like a day and running around and stuff. And so having my emotional support water bottle is just, they go everywhere with me. Like I have multiples of them, the same one. And it's just, I mean, a reminder, like we all know, to drink more water. But really, I find that hydration is like so beneficial for our mental health and clarity and regulation.
I noticed too that there are people that just will say to me, so actually some of my friends, like, I just don't like the way water tastes.
Yeah.
Which,
I can't fathom that. Some of my friends say the
Yeah.
same
and
thing.
so what are some like little practical things that people can do. So for me, I like water, but I love carbonated water. So I have like, I'm obsessed with my soda stream. And so
Sonia is like intense. That thing, she is like carrying around her carbonated water all the time. Yeah, all the time. Right now. Yeah, it's weird. You know what, Sonia? I actually like the sound of the soda stream brings me to your house. Like if I hear that anywhere else, I immediately think of you.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I just got another one for upstairs because it's so important for me to hydrate. But it is okay. So I will look.
Wow. Wait, so are you just doing water in it, and you're just making it carbonated water?
Yes, I'm just making carbonated water. I mean, if if my niece or Kathleen are visiting, we'll do some mocktails and we'll like carbonate whatever. Right. But for me at home, I'm just doing. I love it, and I think also, this actually, I would say went into like full force when I got sober. And so there is something about like, it feels like just like a little bit elevated, right? And especially too, if I'm out, and a place doesn't have mocktails, I'll be like, I'll just have a sparkling water with lime. And it makes me feel like, like I'm having something special. And so.
Yeah. If I'm out, I do the same. I'll do like a sparkling water with lime and a splash of grapefruit juice, like make like a virgin Paloma of sorts. But at home, it's interesting. I won't have carbonated drinks during the day. I'm just not like that. I have a friend who's exactly the same way. Like she crushes sparkling water all day long. Yeah, like at night, she'll like crack a can in the middle of the night and chug it. Like I don't know. That's never been my thing. But after the kids go down, typically mine is like a cannabis infused sparkling drink or a Spindrift. Like I do like something at the end of the day or if I'm out. But typically during the day, no, I'm just a water person or like coffee and matcha. I'm not like I do find that there are drink people. My old college roommate used to be a drink person. Like we would go to Wawa and she would get like 5 different drinks. I'm like, what are you going to do with all of these? I enjoy the taste of water. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. I'm trying to think what I tell people. Yeah, aside from like drinking carbonated water,
I mean, you can add fruit. People will add fruit to their water or like a hydration packet that has flavoring, like Element. I like.
I just got Element, actually. One of my friends recommended it. Yeah.
We drink a lot of those. So I think that's like a way to flavor it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I agree.
It's hard to give advice. Like, I just like it.
I feel like I'm just like, that sounds like a problem. Like if you, like your body is made of whatever percentage of water and you're saying you don't like water. Yeah.
You mentioned the cannabis infused drink in the evening. Mm-hmm. So you've been open about using cannabis. How does it fit into your wellness or relaxation practices?
For me, again, with ADHD and anxiety, I find that like micro dosing in a sense, like it's a small dose. The drinks are 2 milligrams. Cannabis just helps like calm my mind in a way where it just quiets the noise. So it like turns down the constant thoughts. It also allows me to actually concentrate. Like we were talking about this in my group chat the other day where my one friend is like, I cannot work if I am like remotely high. And I don't think I could do my old job at all. And she works in the corporate world. So maybe that's the difference. But for me, like it's where I come up with actually majority of the ideas for my job. And because I think it's a creative job, maybe that plays into it. But like typically if I'm enjoying one of these like cannabis drinks, Can is my favorite, CANN. It's like after the kids go down, I'll shower, do my skincare, get my cozies, and then enjoy one while we're like watching a show or typically while I'm finishing work. And I'll have so many ideas and I'll just like put them in my notes app on my phone, being like, tomorrow, film this, tomorrow, do this. Oh, good podcast idea. Like it helps me quiet all of the like to-dos that I find are constant as a mom and business owner and focus more on like the creative side of my work.
Mm-hmm. And what does mindful use look like, since we are sisters in sobriety, look like for you versus using it to numb or check out? And are you sort of like aware of the difference when you're using it?
Yeah, I find So I stopped drinking alcohol like 4 years ago, not because I felt like I was using it to numb or because I wasn't mindful around it. I've always found that I have been a mindful drinker where I actually just like really enjoyed the taste of alcohol and I loved it. I was never drinking to get drunk. I was drinking because I enjoyed the taste of it. And the reason I stopped was because it was just negatively impacting my mental health. Like I noticed my anxiety was going up. I was getting really bad headaches. I was feeling more depressed. I was way more irritable. And it wasn't even if I was drunk the night before. It was like if I had a glass or two of wine. And my journey has been very like gray this whole time where I've never set this like, I'm done drinking and I will never drink again. If there's a day where I want to have a drink, I'm allowing myself to have a drink. Like none of it stems from addiction. So again, we get into like the conversation around orthorexia. I find that the labels and the rules and the intensity around things is never actually good for me because it makes me obsess over it. And so allowing myself that gray space where if my husband has like specifically it's a draft IPA beer, like I will be like, oh, I just want one sip. And like I want a sip and I'm like, okay, look, I don't want it anymore. And if I wanted more, I would allow myself to have more. And I feel that way with cannabis as well. Like I'm not ever feeling like, oh, I want to completely check out. So now this is what I'm going to have. I'm more like, oh, I enjoy this like calm easing into my night and the feeling it allows me. It also like, I love the giggling aspect of it. It is interesting because when we talk about this, like, do I wish I lived in a body and world where my brain like didn't need anything to somewhat numb it? Of course. But I also think that's kind of my reality. What are your thoughts on that?
I wish that I could use things, right? But because I'm so addictive, whenever, like, even if the idea comes up, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you'll say like the can. And I'm like, okay, I could get that. And then I'm like, yeah, but then I'll just do it. I'll drink it all the time. And so I think that you actually made a really important distinction, which is you're sort of very aware of how you're using it. And if it's, either, adding or kind of subtracting from your life. And so I think the problem with me is like the idea of consequences, right? Is that what ends up happening is that I become totally unaware of the consequences of my use of something.
Got it.
But do I love the idea and wish I could do it? For sure. For sure. Do I wish I could have a sip of an IPA once in a while? For sure. Right. And so I do think what you're describing is sort of this like very ideal kind of situation that I wish I could do. Maybe Kathleen can. I'm not sure. Kathleen has a sugar thing. So I don't know. Like if you ask her if she wants.
So I have ADHD also. And I will fall really quickly depending on what it was. Like my issue was cocaine. So sugar, same part of the brain. I can't do that. Like I will know that I'm using sugar now to like, to manage some sort of emotion or to focus my brain. And I will know and I will feel shitty in my body. I will feel all the things and yet I will still do it unless I have a rule where I don't have it in my life.
So are you fully sugar free?
I am, what is it? I am.
How many days?
31 days today.
Oh my God, that is so impressive to me.
Oh my God, me too.
That's more impressive to me than sobriety.
It's been hard
because
hard.
Yeah.
But I'm going to recovery meetings for the sugar addiction because I've actually felt like the sugar addiction was harder for me to quit than cocaine.
Well, sugar's everywhere. It's not like Coke. You're not walking into a restaurant. People are like, here's
not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Like, in my 40s, no. In my 20s, yeah, but not anymore.
True.
True. Not anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really hard. It's been really, really hard. But alcohol, I think I don't drink, but I definitely can like have a drink. I haven't, but I
I was just
could
gonna say
have
that.
a drink. Alcohol is never like I had a problematic use of it for sure when I was doing drugs, but alcohol has never been my thing where I will like get fully addicted to it. But sugar, cocaine, all those
Mhm.
things that like raise the dopamine in my brain, yeah,
Yeah.
What
problematic.
about cannabis?
Well, it's
Oh,
interesting. I was just going to say it's interesting because growing up, not growing up, but in my 20s, so like I think probably before college, my mom was an investment banker in the
Mhm.
80s, so cocaine was very prevalent in their lives. And I remember her telling me, like, you will love this. It is everything
yes.
you want. Do not do it. Like, you are just like me. I'm very similar to my mom. She's like, it is literally all of the things that will have your brain being like, I want
Yeah.
more. Just don't ever try it. So I never did.
Oh,
I'm like one of my only people I know and all of my friends that never has because while I'm not addicted to the weed side of things or alcohol, like I do have somewhat of an addictive personality where I can like hyper obsess over things. And she was like, cocaine
Yeah.
will be your thing. And I was like, okay,
Especially with
noted.
an
I will never
ADHD
try it.
brain. Like if you have an
Kathleen
ADHD
always says
Yeah.
that.
brain, I do because I don't think if I didn't have ADHD, it wouldn't have necessarily, and it was undiagnosed at the time, been such a pull. But literally, like I was like, oh my God, this is the best version of me. Like I can focus, I can like work now, I can like. It was
Right.
like it for me. I wasn't dancing on tables. I was like, oh, I just feel normal. But there
I
you
Hmm.
go.
mean, you
Yeah.
were though, girl, weren't you? Like it
Yeah,
was
I
not
was.
a
I
table.
was, but maybe that was the alcohol in combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's something we can maybe get on more the same page about, which is psychedelics. And so that is something I'm
Mhm.
actually more open to trying in my sobriety because, yeah, I feel like with weed, it's a bit of a slippery slope for
Yeah.
me. But I feel like psychedelics, especially like maybe the microdosing, is something I can sort of like start to think about. And yeah, sorry, Kathleen, I'm stealing your question, but
Sure.
you shared about a psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
What can you tell us a little bit more about that? How you decided to get into that? Like, yeah, some more deep.
Yeah. So going back, oh God, what year was this? 2020, I became interested in the idea of it from like a mental health
Mhm.
perspective. And I'd spoken with a few people. I'd had a few people on my show where I was interviewing them about it. And I started to become really interested in the idea of like a trip and a journey and like what would come up for me, and would it help heal certain inner wounds. And I actually had this like, I'm so glad it did not happen because now having done a journey, it's not how I would have wanted to do it. But I was like prepared to do this experience, just like my husband and I and my little sister was going to come and just like be our like sober person. And the night before, I was like a day late for my period. And I was like, I guess I should just be safe and check. And that was when I got pregnant with my first son. So, needless to say, we did not do this experience. Then, a year later, in postpartum, I was, like I said, experiencing postpartum depression and, really trying to figure out how to navigate this experience because it was not like any depression I had felt before. And I connected with someone around the concept of microdosing. And so this was when I started doing like a microdosing protocol of sorts. And I will say, like, the 4-ish months that I did that were some of the like happiest, creative,
Hmm.
like, I just felt like I was like tapping into another version of myself. And I really enjoyed it. And I then also really wanted to do like a full journey experience. And my two girlfriends and I, who are actually Canadian as well,
Oh.
Kathleen, we found this like sound bath experience. So it was kind of a wild experience where you're in a room with like 20 to 30 other people and like you come prepared for 8 hours and you have like a mat with a sleeping bag and a pillow and a blanket and an eye mask and some snacks and water and a journal. And you get there and like the leader like sets the intention, explains everything, and it's a sound bath. So he has all of his instruments, and it begins by taking like they dose you, and then you can take whichever of that dose you feel comfortable with. So you start with taking the mushrooms, and then there's also some MDMA, a clinical dose of MDMA. And you basically go into this 8 hour, or by the time the intro is over, it's probably like 6.5 hours meditation, sound bath journey. So like he's playing these instruments, you're kind of like chanting in the beginning of it. You're like in your own experience. And it's crazy because if I said I was going to do that for 6.5 hours, I would be like, what do you even mean? But the time felt like a year and 5 minutes at the same time. Like the time was so warped that when he said like, okay, we're coming out of it, I was like, wait, we just got here. But then I was also like, I've been here forever. Yeah, it was the most life-altering experience ever. Like my brain went so many different places, and I actually am so grateful. I had my journal laying next to me, and my girlfriend jokes at this all the time. She's like, I just remember taking off my eye mask to take a sip of water and seeing you like writing like a madman and being like, what is she doing? How is she writing right now? But I had my journal next to me, and I think like something happened where I wanted to remember it. And Kathleen, like you said, like with ADHD, I feel like my brain is constantly boomerangs where like a thought comes in, it leaves, and I'm like trying to grab it. So I'm always writing things down. And I just wanted to write something down. And then the next thing I knew, I wrote 12 full pages in a journal during this journey. That was really wild to reflect on afterwards. And it immediately brought to my therapist to work through. Yeah, it was truly like a once in a lifetime, hard to explain experience, but it was very eye-opening.
What boundaries or intentions felt important to you when you were exploring this? Like, were there boundaries or intentions that were important to you, or even like you're microdosing on a consistent basis, and as well this like one big trip that you had? What boundaries or intentions felt important for you?
So I will say, like, intention wise, I went in very clearly with a few things that like I wanted to work through, which was recommended. Like he had sent us this whole email of things that we were supposed to like work on and reflect and journal beforehand. And so I went in being very clear and intentional about like, I want to work through this, this, and this. And I do feel like it rewired my brain around some things, which is so dramatic to say. But even in an example of like, I was constantly having, if I was anxious, I was having dreams that I was back at my old job, like so vivid. And I was trying to quit again, but they weren't letting me quit. But like I had my son with me, like it was so specific. And I just feel like I couldn't let go of the concept of feeling like I like let someone down by leaving my job, and that like maybe there was judgment there from them and a bunch of other like inner feelings and emotions. And since that journey, I have not had one of those dreams. And that's been, when did I do that? 3 years ago? Because it was before, no, it was after I had my second, a year and a half ago. Have not had one of those dreams, which like I find like that's a clear example for me. Another thing was like the way that I react to something specific in my life. And while it's not perfect, it has very much shifted my thought process around that. So the intentions were very clear. In terms of boundaries, I don't know if to be honest, I don't know if I necessarily set boundaries around it.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it was a really positive experience for you, like the big trip for sure. Like, yeah.
And it's not for everyone. No. Like I can, yeah, but it was for me.
And so if we switch a little bit over to sort of that inner dialogue, which it seems like you tapped into during that, You talk about surrounding yourself with positive affirmations. How do you personally use them? And I think Kathleen and I have talked to people before, and there's this, there's different ways to do it. What is the one, Kathleen, you tell me to do for like body image? Like sit and stare at myself in the mirror naked. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm just not. So what are.
I'm going to tell you to do the same thing.
Yep.
Sorry.
Nobody wants, especially me, to look at a 47-year-old lady.
Like that's
You
the problem.
should.
You're beautiful. And it's like, if you could do that and be with the discomfort of it at first. I'm not saying it's going to be comfortable at first, but like be with the discomfort of that. And then still see things about yourself that you do appreciate, that can grow over time.
Yeah. I will say, maybe this will be easier for you. I have always had a like critical mindset. Like my brain always has erred on the side of critical. And I think that's a combination of, I don't know if it's nurture versus nature, but like I witnessed a very critical female household
Me too.
in my childhood. So for me, I noticed I was like critiquing my body a lot in my early 20s. And it was like anytime I saw a picture of myself or anytime I walked by a mirror or any of those things, it would be critical, critical, critical. So I started this practice where anytime I heard my brain inside say something, like, I don't know, say your critique, what's the part of your body that you critique the most?
Oh, my stomach.
Okay.
Both of them.
So say you're critiquing your stomach. I would stop what I was doing. And if I was alone or like with my husband, I would say them out loud. And if I was with other people, I would just like say it in my brain. But I would say like, thank you, stomach, for, and I would say, for instance, for my belly, like, thank you, stomach, for carrying majority of my organs. Thank you, stomach, for allowing me to eat all this food I love and like somehow turning it into poop. Like, that's so cool. Thank you for me, it was like one day, hopefully carrying my children. Thank you for whatever it is. Like, I don't think we affirm our bodies enough or show them gratitude for the sense that like we are breathing. We are getting out of bed and like putting our two legs on the ground and walking. Like, I think everything shifted for me after my accident, especially because I felt for the first time not able to do all the things I wanted to do. And I promised myself, like, I will never beat myself up for any form of workout because I would do anything to just be able to walk 5 blocks right now. And I will be so grateful for any form of movement or the fact that like I go about my day without a headache. Like, it's, when you're sick and you can't breathe at night through your nose and you're like, oh my God, I would do anything to be able to breathe right now. And then you get rid of your sickness and every other night you're laying in bed breathing, but you're never thinking about it. Like, we aren't grateful enough for our body for actually just functioning. So that practice I did like consistently, probably for a year, and it completely shifted the way I think about my body, like completely. And that was where I realized that affirmations can have such a positive effect. So like I actually have one right now on my mirror. Like, I remember my apartment having sticky notes all over my mirror. Like, I am beautiful. I am worthy, whatever it is. It's also why we started the coloring affirmations in this book, and they're all shaped 8x10. So you can cut them out and frame them. And like, I have a few framed throughout the house and in my office, and the kids version, like we have those framed in my boys' room. Like, we do positive affirmations with my boys as well. I really think it has such a real impact on the way that your brain is wired.
So do they ever feel forced or uncomfortable for you? Like Sonia was saying, she's like, I can't do this. But do they ever feel forced or uncomfortable? And if so, how do you deal with that?
I think in the beginning, yes, because it's new and it's like, what am I doing? But then I think it becomes second nature where now I don't feel forced or uncomfortable at all.
That's great.
But in the beginning, yes. I think anything's new, it feels weird.
I'll do the naked one, guys. I get it. Like, and this actually goes into, sorry, Kathleen, I'm going to steal your question again, but I have made some major changes over the last year. And it actually was because I got sick, and not like a serious illness. Like, remember, I just got like food poisoning on that cruise, and then I got a cold, and then I got sick again, and then I got a cold. And so it really did make me appreciate my body and how important it was for me to be healthy. And so I really did switch how I look at my body into more, especially when I exercise, I'm exercising for health and not for aesthetics. And how do you approach movement more as mental health support instead of something tied to performance or aesthetics?
I mean, I used to be so obsessed with exercise, and it was so tied to aesthetics. I think the accident was a huge shift for me. And honestly, I think pregnancy completely changed the way I look at my body, where I just have so much gratitude for my body. Like, I felt like a superhero after, because I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. And with that, exercise became more of this thing that, for me, I know when I exercise, I'm happier, I'm less irritable, I feel stronger in my body, which is so important with young kids. It's so physical. And that's more why I turn to moving my body, is because I want to get that endorphin rush, quite honestly, that feels good with my brain. And it sets me up for a day where I just feel generally calmer. And I notice it so clearly. And I also just, as someone who's played sports my whole life, have that feeling of I just want to move. I don't love feeling stagnant. And exercise is the way that I kind of release that.
Yeah, I will say mind follows movement. I talk to my clients about this all the time. And when I'm doing a first session with a client, I'm always asking, not from a judgment place at all, but how do you move your body on a daily basis? Or do you? I don't care what people are doing. It's just do they move? Humans are not, we're not meant to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. We're not. Humans are meant to move their bodies. And I think, I know for myself, I notice such a difference in my mental health if I'm not moving. I have to move my body.
Totally.
How do you help people let go of the pressure to find the perfect wellness routine?
Well, A, I just don't believe there is a perfect one, because if there was, we'd all be taking some magic pill. B, I think, again, this was post-children. Not we're busy people in today's world, with kids or without kids. There is a lot going on. And I think if you put too much pressure on yourself, again, the routine then does more harm than it does good. So finding these bite-sized things that you can do anywhere and any day, even if my kids are up all night and they're with me first thing in the morning, I can step away for 5 minutes and just work on my breath work, or I can journal for 3 minutes, or go jump around and listen to a song that makes me feel good, instead of having this 10-step wellness routine that I have to do every single morning that ends up causing more anxiety than helping with my anxiety.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point, because it's what are these bits and pieces that you can just do anywhere, that if you're so married to a rigid routine, it's you're setting yourself up to fail in a sense, right? That's just not manageable. So what are the things that you can, I didn't work out this morning, but during lunch, I'm going to a seminar. I'm going to get on my walking pad for an hour just to move my body, because I'll feel so much better after I do it. It's I'm just marrying two things together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Cameron, for joining us. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you all for listening to Sisters in Sobriety, and we will see you next week.
This was Sisters in Sobriety.
Thank you for listening and being with us today.
If you want to learn more about sobriety and meet your community, find us at sistersinsobriety.substack.com.
Are you a sister in sobriety? Then reach out on social media. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're feeling generous, leave us 5 stars and a review and follow us wherever you listen.
You'll never miss an episode. Until next time.